Welcome to the virtual tour of the Basilica of St. Michael the Archangel in Pensacola, Florida. The Basilica of St. Michael the Archangel's iconic Gothic Revival architecture is unmistakably recognized from the corners of North Palafox and Chase Street in downtown Pensacola. More important is its designation by Pope Benedict XVI as a minor basilica. This distinct honor means that the Holy Father has bestowed this church with special privileges, given the significant spiritual and cultural impact of the basilica's long-time presence in Pensacola. As the mother church of the Diocese of Pensacola-Tallahassee, the origins of the Basilica of St. Michael go back to the 1559 expedition of Tristan de Luna and the first Mass offered in the New World. The parish was first established in 1781, and the church you see today was consecrated in 1886, built at a total cost of $27,000. The church structure is largely original. However, the brick was red back then, and has since been resurfaced with stucco and painted. Its main feature is the 3-story bell tower, whose bell tolls every hour. Looking left of the basilica, you'll find the parish office and rectory. The parish hall is located to the right of the basilica across Chase Street. Looking upward, above the main doors of the basilica, you can see the statue of the church's namesake, St. Michael the Archangel, watching with a protective gaze over all who enter this sacred place. Tilting back down to either side of the main wooden entrance doors are notable commemorative plaques. On the right, the Basilica coat of arms, one of 3 identifiable markings that signify the church's designation as a minor basilica of the Roman Catholic Church. The crest includes the papal tiara and keys, which are visible reminders of the important connection between a minor basilica and the Pope. Stepping inside the basilica brings you to the vestibule, where you'll get your first glimpse inside this magnificent church. But before we go inside, this 360-degree photo allows you to see the door that leads to the choir loft on the left-hand side. On the right side is the vesting room. Let's go there first. In this historic space that used to be an open-air breezeway under the bell tower, clergy and others are able to prepare for ceremonies and liturgies in the basilica. This space is also home to our tiny bathroom. A trip up the stairs to the choir loft leads to one of the best views of the basilica, especially during feast days and holy days that are rich in ceremony. With an unobstructed view of the church's open floor plan. Towering over the loft is the pipe organ. The original Wurlitzer pipe organ was installed in 1903, but has had several redesigns and renovations, the last one in 1989. Now known as a David Finch organ, it includes trumpet, trombone, and flute ranks. The organ pipes were intentionally split to either side of the choir loft to ensure an unobstructed view of the rose window of St. Michael, who can be seen holding 2 important elements from the basilica's crest. The sword represents the Archangel Michael as the captain of the heavenly army waging war against the spirits of evil. The scales of justice are a reminder of St. Michael's role as the enforcer of Christ's ultimate judgment. The sword and scales are such important symbols of St. Michael that they are incorporated into the basilica's coat of arms. Michael is a great help and intercessor for all who call upon him. Connected to the choir loft is the entrance to another staircase that leads to the 3rd-story bell tower. Soon to be restored, this bronze bell, named Michael in honor of the basilica's patron, weighs in at more than 2,000 pounds and can be heard throughout the downtown area every hour. and on weddings, funerals, and other special events. The first steps inside the basilica showcase a grand ceiling resembling a ship's hull made from Florida pine and stained in a rich mahogany. Symbolically, this also represents Christ as a fisher of men and gives meaning to why this part of the church is called the nave, from the Latin word meaning ship. Hanging from the rafters are 12 uniquely crafted golden amber pendant lights that serve as the congregation's main source of artificial light. It is no accident that the 12 rays of golden light beaming from the pendants represent the Holy Spirit and the 12 apostles. When incense is burned in the basilica's liturgies, the swirls of incense can be seen ascending to the lamps and beyond to the heavens, a sight that never fails to inspire those who witness it. Below the lights sit 74 restored and original wooden pews installed in 1897, all of which are made from native Florida cypress and oak. Families once paid a pew rental fee, which was a major source of revenue for the parish. Parishioner names were assigned on place card holders that still serve as a reminder of this bygone custom. At the back of the church is a Victorian-style confessional booth. A red light above the door signals that the confessional is occupied. It turns green when the booth is available for the sacrament of reconciliation. In the southeast corner of the basilica's interior is the baptistry, where the marble baptismal font, holy oils, and paschal candle can be found. Moving to the center of the church, you'll notice the building and floor plan were designed to resemble a cross. The church seats approximately 450 people. From this position, we have the perfect view of the 23 stained glass windows designed and produced by Bavarian-born Emil Frey. His work is considered an unsurpassed example of the Munich style of pictorial stained glass. Each window is formed from lead crystal glass and is painted and fired in vibrant, translucent colors. Each window depicts a visual message focusing on the various stages of Jesus' birth, life, death, and resurrection, and forms the basis of the Eucharistic liturgy. Also seen from this vantage point are the original lifelike stations of the cross, installed in 1895. There are 14 of them, depicting the journey of Jesus' path to the cross, beginning with his condemnation to death, permitted by Pontius Pilate, and ending with his crucifixion and burial. Though they appear to be made of stone, the stations are actually constructed from papier-mâché and horsehair on a wire frame. If you would like to view the short films describing the details of the basilica's stained glass windows and stations of the cross, you will find both on the Basilica Films page of our website. Looking forward from this position towards the sanctuary and down at the floor is the papal coat of arms. Parishioners typically stop here and bow when crossing to either side of the sanctuary or prior to receiving Holy Communion. Notice the bowed altar rail that adorns the sanctuary. After the reforms of the Second Vatican Council, many churches dismantled their altar rails in order to eliminate what some perceive to be a barrier to the sanctuary. In fact, the altar rail enables basilica parishioners who choose to do so to receive Holy Communion while kneeling at the altar, a practice cherished by increasing numbers of Catholics. Looking to the left, located next to the Marian altar, is the reliquary containing notable relics or remains of saints or objects associated with them. The most prominent relic is that of the silver cross surviving the 1559 Spanish expedition of Don Tristan de Luna, who landed on Pensacola Beach, establishing this area under Spanish rule. Here, on this beach, the explorers held the very first Catholic Mass on what would become American soil. The silver cross was used in that first Mass. The altar was then dedicated to the patronage of Saint Michael the Archangel as the defender of the expedition. These are the earliest origins of our Basilica parish today. Now, hanging under that silver cross are the fragments of bone, hair, and clothing, which serve as a reminder that these saints and martyrs are human like us. The most prized relic not kept in the reliquary is an actual wood splinter from the true cross of Christ. It is brought out for veneration of the faithful during Lent, on Good Friday, and on the feast of the exaltation of the Holy Cross. If you would like to know more about the individual relics, the Basilica's rector offered presentations on the saints of the Roman canon and the reliquary, which can be accessed from the Catholic Enrichment page of our website. To the right of the reliquary is the Marian altar, honoring the Blessed Mother of Jesus. On the opposite wing is the Joseph altar, the foster father of Jesus. The sanctuary begins at the curved rails and a step-up that leads to the main sacrificial altar made of marble and etched with 5 red crosses, 1 at each corner and 1 in the center. Towering above the altar is the blue sky and gold stars, reminding participants in the Mass that the prayers offered at the altar are made in the presence of the heavenly host of angels and saints and to the Lord himself. The blue celestial ceiling is envisioned as a window into heaven. Notice at the crest of the crossing is a white dove representing the Holy Spirit. Uniquely positioned to the right of the main altar are 2 other identifiable objects, the papal umbrella and bell. The canopium is a silk canopy or umbrella constructed with 8 fabric panels of alternating red and yellow, traditional colors from the papal coat of arms until 1808. Should the Pope visit Pensacola, this umbrella would shade the Holy Father from the Florida sun. The tintinnabulum, or bell, is mounted on a pole and would be carried in processions to announce the Holy Father's presence. The tabernacle is the main focal point of the reredos altar, or high altar. The golden chamber holds the consecrated hosts of bread, the real presence of Jesus Christ. The ornate sanctuary lamp hangs on the left side of the altar. This red candle burns throughout the year, reminding all who enter that the Basilica is the Lord's house and He is present. You can learn more about the Basilica's rich history through many of the films on the Basilica Films section and the Our History page of the Basilica website at stmichaelbasilica.com. These paint a more complete picture, both from the history and from the life of today, of this special place of worship known as the Basilica.